The movie begins in Nevada, where Valerie Young, a rookie officer, is sent to a disturbance. Teddy Murretto, a male, is seen leaving the site of an automobile accident at the same moment. Young tries to defuse the conflict after arriving on the scene, but Murretto unexpectedly appears and sucker punches her. Murretto requests to be arrested in plain view, and officers tase him. Murretto is brought to the station and imprisoned. A hitman named Bob Viddick is rescued from a car accident in another scene when it is learned that the lawyer has been killed. Murretto, who is demanding that officials go check on his ex-girlfriend and her son, is in a cell across from Viddick's. Viddick is not welcomed by Murretto since he knows that Viddick is there to murder him. Huber, a station officer, receives a text message from a convert employer wondering what happened to their supply of coke. Viddick is imprisoned in a cell with a drunk man who irritates him by constantly saying, "Huh?" He watches as smoke begins to come out of the phone that was taken from him. As the alarm starts to sound, Viddick aggressively assaults the inebriated man and begins to choke him on his own blood before breaking through the door to the cell and shooting shots at Murretto. When they heard gunfire, additional cops rush to tackle Viddick, treat the drunk, and tend to Murretto. Young queries Murretto about his identity and the motivation behind Viddick's assassination attempt. He reveals that he sometimes acts as a fixer, even though he despises the word, for government officials engage in dubious ventures. He recently mistreated the people who hired him by robbing them of their money and demanding their narcotics shipment, the same cocaine Huber was interrogated for. As a result, he is aware that Viddick was hired to find him. Huber's contact, Anthony Lamb, a far more psychotic contact killer, shows up somewhere in the station and starts shooting at many officers. Due to the Lamb's presence and their intention to kill both Huber and Murretto, Huber is forced to turn on his friend and carry out their scheme. With the aid of a machine gun, Lamb enters the cell after killing numerous police officers. Young makes an effort to defeat him, but is forced to shelter behind the bulletproof glass to escape the barrage of gunfire. When Lamb runs out of ammunition, Valerie tries to shoot him with her own gun but misses before running back to the prison. Young learns that she was unintentionally hit by her own bullet that ricocheted off Lamb during the course of the shooting. She is aware that she is bleeding out and may not have the time to quickly obtain the trauma kit she requires. Then, using a sledgehammer, Lamb and Huber try to knock down the cell wall, but Murretto and Viddick makes cases for why they ought to be fired. But Young clearly has little faith in any of them. In the end, she gives in, releases Murretto, and even hands him a revolver. But when Young inquires about whether he'll bring the trauma kit back, Viddick assures her that he most certainly won't. And then pressures Valerie to say that they were aware that Lamb had already killed Murretto's ex-girlfriend and her son. After leaving the cell, Murretto appears to say he'll go grab the gear. Lamb and Huber are faced by two other officers. Lamb shoots and kills one and orders Huber to kill the other. Huber hesitates but pulls the trigger after being frightened when Murretto comes out yelling and firing his gun. Lamb hides, but Huber gets shot in both legs and gets tased in the bullet wound by Murretto. Viddick manages to uncuff himself from his cell even as Young protests, but he sees more willing to help her. Lamb attempts to get Murretto, firing at a figure that he sees standing ahead of him, but it turns out he just killed Huber. Viddick comes out and shoots Lamb down, but Murretto shoots Viddick. Murretto finishes Lamb as he is rambling on. Murretto then sets fire to the station and goes to the kitchen to get food. He notices the trauma kit open next to him and finds Young having taken care of her wound. She knows now that Viddick was right about Murretto, and they got into a standoff. After exchanging gunfire, Young uses a bullet she dug out of herself and places it into her gun and fires off a shot that takes Murretto down just as he attempts to make a run for it. But Young can finish off Murretto. She gets shot by another killer in the station, but that one gets taken out by Viddick. Murretto realizes he's screwed and then gets executed by Viddick, who takes a bag with him and steals a car just as medic arrive. Viddick contacts his employer and reports that he killed Murretto and is even bringing back Lamb's head. Young is being taken to the hospital, but she orders the medics to pull over so she can take the ambulance. She heads off to pursue Viddick. The two of them turn on the radio, both playing the exact same song and singing along to it. You have made it this far. In appreciation, please like, subscribe, watch other recaps, and share with your loved ones.